Hey guys, it's Diana. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are doing a vacation home for Chief in Animal Crossing. I decided to go with the lot on C5 because I honestly wasn't really sure what other ones to choose that kind of fit the client request here. He wanted a garage for his pals, and I took that to mean like, okay, garage, mechanic, auto body, but also a place to hang out that's kind of like grunge, I guess. The only thing is that I completely forgot to change that staircase out to a ramp. It will stay like that until the end of time, and I probably won't end up going back at all to do that either. I might like off camera, but you won't see it in this video. And to be honest with you, I don't even think I like the ramp options that are available in this game. I don't really think that there's one that fits that brick pathway all that well. I mean, maybe the white one would. But beyond that, I feel like that's the only option, and I didn't want to go with the gray stone tile because everything surrounding it was that brown brick, and I wanted to kind of keep it that way and keep it cohesive. The only other thing that I'm also not a fan of too, and I mentioned this last time I think with Klaus's build, is just like the exteriors. I wish that we had some that didn't actually look like the outside of a house. I understand it's like vacation home time, like this is the Happy Home Paradise DLC. We're making vacation homes for our villagers, but also I feel like maybe occasionally they could look a little more commercial, at least for the ones who want cafes and things like that. Just like I did with Klaus and like I do with other villagers who request a more commercial build, is I have the first floor of the build being the main thing that they want, like the storefront, the cafe, the garage in this case, and then the upstairs is like their own apartment. I feel like that maybe I could have done a little bit better with the apartment that I made for Chief. It's not as grungy as one would think, but we'll get to that later. Here we are actually doing the inside of the garage, and I had a lot of fun with this because this is not something that I would have chosen to build on my own. I tend to go with more like quaint home type things, and I don't really build in this like sort of grungy or like, you know, commercial or garage type aesthetic, I guess. I know that it's a lot of gray with the wall and with the flooring, but I didn't really like the paintball options. I do end up making one of the accent walls the garage door, and then I at one point was fiddling with putting things on that wall, but then I realized, well, it's supposed to be a garage door. There's really no point in making it have stuff hanging on it because in reality you would be opening and closing the garage door. And if you hear any noise in the background, that is my dog Fawn. She has a toy in her mouth and she is playing with it. I'm realizing too with the folding chairs that I placed that maybe they could have been changed out for some different swatches, but I like how cluttered this is, much akin to the antique shop that I did for Klaus, except obviously completely different style. And I had a lot of fun with switching things out, changing all the color options, and using a lot of items that I don't usually use, like the spray paint and those traffic cones and things like that, as well as the construction scaffolding. Honestly, the client recommendation tab really helped me out a lot in this because I was able to truly take a look at like what he wanted and also use my own vision to go off of that with choosing random items from the regular furniture tabs. The only thing that I wish we could do is put stuff on the upper level of the scaffolding. I understand why, like, this is Animal Crossing, it's not The Sims, you can't slot things to multiple shelves like that. Like, that's just not how the game works, and you can't raise items up and down. I think that maybe I could have changed things up a little bit and added like the retro gas pump or whatever, like a few of the more commercial looking items that we have in this game, potentially outside, but I didn't end up doing that, and I didn't really focus on the outside as much as I did on the inside. I wanted to make a little exercise space as well as a little tiny coffee bar type area, at least just with the espresso machine and that sloppy sink, which it took me a while to find. I had the most trouble finding the sloppy sink. I thought that it was going to be in the sinks and toilet items like category in the regular items tab, but it was actually with the cooking stuff. I completely forgot that you can cook with that item. The sloppy sink is actually something that you can only get from the recycle bin in your resident services, or I mean you could get it from like a Treasure Island or you could trade with somebody, but you can't like buy it from the Nook catalog. So I felt like that was like the perfect opportunity to use that item because I wanted an area where the people in this garage could like wash up or make their coffee because like they need caffeine in order to like do their work. I don't know. Sometimes I put too much thought into these things and then we have stuff like this. It kind of almost reminds me of the aesthetic of Chief's actual house when you have him as a villager on your island. I think the inside of his house is supposed to be like a back alley sort of thing. I can't quite remember. I've never actually had him as a villager on my island, so I could be wrong about that, but I've seen images of the interior of his house, and it reminds me of like a back alley sort of flea market type area. The other thing that I did that I don't normally do in builds or in any interior is I used the soundscape option. I think I chose the construction option or something. I wasn't really sure what to go with here, and I didn't really just want the music playing out of the cassette or whatever. I didn't feel like that would fit the vibe. We're upstairs now, and the interior up here actually changes a lot, at least with like the walls and flooring options that I end up choosing, but that'll be more toward the end. I probably, like I said earlier, could have gone a little differently with this interior, like made it a little older, not abandoned, but like a little more dumpy, I guess, kind of grungy and grimy, similar to the garage space, but I didn't want to. I wanted there to be like a sort of contrast between the upstairs where he lived and the actual garage that was his request. Again, I am always wishing for more wall and ceiling items in this game. I hope that in the future of Animal Crossing that we get more wall and ceiling items. The ones that we got in the 2.0 update, especially for the ceiling category, because we never had that, they're alright. They're not bad, but I feel like they could have done better. Most of them are lights. I wish that we had some more hanging shelves and some more like hanging garland type things. The only garland stuff that we have that's really hanging is the paper chain one, the vine one, the glowing moss one, and there's like a dreamy, starry, children's fairy looking one. I don't think that those fit anything that I'm trying to do here, and I really had a struggle trying to find good ceiling items and even good ceiling lights to put in this build. I ended up using the recommended ceiling lights that were in the tab, at least in the kitchen, just because again I wasn't quite sure what to do here, and a lot of the furniture I just wasn't super into, at least like for the ceiling category, because again we're really lacking in that space. Can I just say that I really like that back wall, the wild wood wall or whatever it was that I ended up choosing with all of the different wood textures on it. I think it looks so cool. I just like the natural look of it. Again, here we are like trying to move stuff around on all of these walls and to find places to put things. I also, and this is something I never ever do in any of my builds, I put that cabinet in the bathroom with the Nook Ink toilet paper on top of it, which is something that you can get if you have the Nintendo Online app on your phone. I can't remember what you do to it, but like you can do something where you link your game or you just log in with your Nintendo account and you can get the special items from that. One of them is the toilet paper. You can get like Tom Nook's and Isabelle's photos from there, I believe, and a few other things like that. Something I also discovered while doing this, the tabletop record player that I was talking about in my last video doesn't even play music. You can't choose music for it to play. It might have the little sound coming out of it like it does with the portable radio that you have at the beginning of the game, where it's just like random radio stuff. But I had my game muted when I was building this. I wasn't listening to the sound or to the music because I generally don't. When I'm playing my game, at least when I'm building, I have something else on in the background, like a podcast or a YouTube video or some music. I find that the music in the game can get really repetitive. Even though I like it, I'm not saying it's bad, but I discovered as I had placed the tabletop record player down a while ago, and I ended up replacing it with the portable one, the one that like closes up, or it looks like it closes up. When you click on the tabletop record player to see what's playing, nothing happens. It's not playing a sound. I just thought that was really bizarre. This whole time I thought that it was like a regular music player, like the little Bluetooth speaker and stuff. Now I'm realizing that I have two music players in this thing. The little Bluetooth speaker, or the upright speaker I guess it's called, on the coffee table, and I have the portable record player in the bedroom area. The little upright speaker thing, in my mind, that's a smart home device. It looks almost exactly like the older Amazon Echoes. And I know a lot of upright Bluetooth speakers now have that cylindrical design anyway, so I'm not saying that, oh my god, it's an Alexa device, but it really reminds me of a smart home device more so than just a generic Bluetooth speaker. I use them a lot in the vacation homes, and I think it's really cute. It has a lot of good color swatch options. In my head, it just reminds me so much of the Amazon Echo. Another thing I had trouble finding was the little cup of noodles, the little like ramen cup of noodles, not like the bowls of ramen that you can get from Nook's Cranny or from the catalog or whatever, but like the little tiny cup of noodles looking thing. For some reason, I could not find that, and it took me a while because there are so many food options in the catalog. Anyway, here we are changing up the walls and floors, at least the main walls and floors, and I end up again trying to like change around some of the color swatches to make them a little more muted and a little darker. I'm realizing I probably could have gone with the ironwood bed instead of the giant log bed, but I really like the log bed and I felt like it fit the rustic tones that we were kind of trying to go for here. We're just putting some last minute touches on the walls, trying to find some stuff. Like I feel like I always have trouble putting things on walls, like figuring out where I want things to go and what I want, because there's only so many swatch options for things. I know that like also I could probably do with getting some more custom designs to use on wall hangings, but I have so many custom design slots that I'm using for my island right now, which I'm hoping to get rid of a lot of when I do my island over again and like flatten it and redo all the pathing, so maybe it won't be taking up slots anymore. Another thing that I forgot to do downstairs, I don't end up changing out the little entryway space, like what it looks like, because I know that you can change the wood to like a tile, and there are other options, like other wood options in the little space where the stairs are, like when you first walk in. That is still the wood. It probably could have been like a concrete or a darker color or something like that, but again, don't end up doing it. I decided to make it nighttime outside. We're doing the little montage here. I think he really likes his space. I thought it was cute that he was at the espresso maker getting some coffee. I forgot that we had that ski rack item. I found it at one point when I was like searching through the catalog for things. Now we're upstairs. We are looking around again at his little apartment. He decided to sit at the kitchen table, and I think that is so funny that he pulled out a fork and he's just sitting there with the pizza. The only thing that I dislike, again, about the partition walls is that they don't fade when you're trying to look around and they get in the way. I probably could have done a lot more with the outside here, like I think I said earlier, but overall, I feel like this turned out pretty well and I'm happy with it. The lack of landscaping is really showing here. I ended up getting 30,000 Poki for this job because I still haven't gotten a promotion yet. I appreciate you guys for watching this. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Bye.